A while back I did a video on Allyson Carter or Allie Carter, and I got some feedback on that video in the comment section. Some of the people were saying that I wasn't believable, that I couldn't be trusted. Some people was even saying that, I'm like defending these celebrities and I'm not believing Allison and different things like that, like how could I, be someone who was as a child but not believe her story. I'm going to first explain why I think the way I think. As I told my story before, I grew up with in a dysfunctional household. And at the time, I did not know that my mother was a narcissist. I didn't find that out until I'm an adult. I go into counseling, and then through counseling, I come across this book called "Will I Ever Be Good Enough?" I forgot the exact title, but I will put that information on the screen or in the description. So growing up with my mother, a lot of times she would come tell me certain things, and I would end up getting in arguments with people because I'm believing my mother. She's telling me that this person said this to her, this person did that. And so here I am, young, teenager, going off on people because I'm believing what she said, even into my 20s and different things like that. So this one particular day, I'm no longer staying at my parents' house, and I come to my mother's house to visit her. And at the time, she's having work done to her house. I didn't ask her any questions or anything. I just came and sat down. It's like, oh, I see the guy's here to do work. And she was like, yes. And then she went into this whole story, how he's taking advantage of her, how he's not doing the things that he was supposed to be doing, and how he's like just cutting corners. So I'm asking her, I'm like, well, did you say anything to him? She's like, no. So here I go. I get up, I say I'm going to go talk to him. And the only thing she said was okay. So I go up, I get up, I go into the house. I'm starting to, kind of get upset with this guy. Like, why are you doing this? My mother said this, that, and the other. He's looking at me like I'm crazy. He has no clue of what I'm saying. And at that instant, a thought popped in my head, like, this man don't know what you're talking about. And so then I started asking him certain questions. He was like, well, no, I'm basically just getting started. I know I have to do this, or that, but I haven't got to that point yet. But he's like, I'm going to do everything like I'm supposed to do. So it's like, okay. So as I'm walking back outside, I'm not saying anything to her. I just sit down right next to her. And then I started questioning her. Okay, what made you feel that he wasn't going to do, that he's taking advantage of you? And then she started, the whole story she told me initially, she started backpedaling on that. So I'm like, well, how come you told me that he said this, or you told me that he did that? She's like, oh, I was just thinking about it. So I'm like, oh, these are your thoughts you're giving me, but you're not actually, this was never a conversation. She's thinking this in her head, but she's talking to me and telling me as if it's true. She see that I'm finna get up half cock and go in there and start yelling at this man. No time did she stop me and say, wait, he didn't really say that. I was just thinking that. So she's sending me off on a mission, half cock, don't know the full story. And, this has happened to me more than one time. So from that point, every time I talk to my mom, no matter what it is, if she telling me something, I listen to her. And then as I'm listening to her, if things doesn't match up, if I don't automatically believe what she said, I don't automatically take her word. I don't sit there and be like, oh, you lying to me. I just know that if she's saying something happened on a Tuesday, and I know, just say for instance, she said she went to the store on a Tuesday. I know this store don't open on Tuesday. Then I'm going to have to start questioning everything she said. Okay, you sure it was a Tuesday that you went to the store? You sure that I have to break it down. And then as I'm breaking it down, then her story starts to change and stuff like that until I finally have to keep at her until I get the truth. That's how I feel when I'm listening to the story with Allison. My mind is automatically now set on default because of the mother I was raised with. I've been with a narcissistic mother. She sees the world the way she sees the world. Regardless if it's true or not, it's true to her. And then she goes off, and she hasn't just done that to me, she has done it to other people. So that's just the way her mind worked and the way she just saw the world, it through narcissistic eyes. And it's different levels of being a narcissist. All narcissistic persons aren't the same. There's a difference in them. And so my mind, from being raised with her, been living with her, understanding how some things she may say to me, it doesn't match up with the rest of the story. Now I have to question everything she's saying to make sure I'm getting the right information. And sometimes she become upset with me because I'm questioning her, and she understands why I'm questioning her based on other things you have said to me that just wasn't true. And so, like I said, when I'm listening, I seen 3 videos with Allison. I didn't see all the videos she made. The 3 videos I put in my video are the ones I watched of her, and I watched the full video. I didn't watch pieces of the video. I watched the full video. I may have put pieces in my video, but I also put the links to the full video. So if anyone saw my video and they want to watch the ones I seen, they can go and look at the full length. So I wasn't trying to hide anything. I wasn't just trying to snip anything, but that's the way people was trying to make it seem. And a lot of things she said, because I wasn't there, all I can go by is what she said in her videos, in her interviews. The first video, she was being interviewed. The second video, she was just speaking into the camera on her own. And the third interview, I think she was being interviewed by somebody. So based on those 3 videos, that made me question her validity, because a lot of things she was saying was not true. I'm not saying she was never SA, because I don't know. But why get upset with me because I'm questioning things that she's saying that doesn't match up with timelines, doesn't match up with certain events. And then some of the things she's saying, it's like she's not, when she was being interviewed, certain questions she was asked, but she never answered them. So I'm not going to automatically jump on the Allyson Carter bandwagon. Everybody else can do it. I'm not telling anyone what to think, what to do, whatever. You can do that if you want to. But what I'm saying, as far as me, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon because a lot of things she said is not matching up. And I'm doing that based on my reality. I'm doing it based on how I grew up, growing up with a narcissistic mother, and seeing that things doesn't match up. And when you're questioning and questioning and questioning, the person get hostile with you. The person get upset with you. The person start accusing you of taking sides. You start getting accused of not believing. I don't care. Like I said, I lived through that with the mother. So I'm used to going back and forth with a person. And I'm not just going to believe you just because you said this happened to me, especially when things are not matching up. Like I said, I'm not saying she never was SA. I'm just saying I'm not jumping on that bandwagon. And a lot of things make me question, like I said, her validity and what side she is. She playing both sides. Because another thing that bothers me, being a person who was SA, understanding that the only way you're going to stop this, well, not even stop this, but put a dent in it, is by going at the top. In one of the videos, she said that everybody's worrying about the people on the top, the elites. You shouldn't worry about the elites. You should go after the middlemen and find the kids. You should go after everyone that's involved, period. Whether they're elites, whether they're the middleman, whether they're the person standing on the side watching the door so nobody else can come in, even if they don't do anything. If they're the one that's holding the person down while the person is being SA, the one who allows someone to put something in someone's drink, all of them are a reason this is allowed to happen and this is allowed to go on. I'm going to show you a video and then I'm going to come back and talk to you.
I blame my mom, but I wish she had had a little bit more, let's see what this is going to mean. And would this come back to bite us?
It's not all glitter at the top. Right now, Brooke Shields and her mother are involved in a bitter lawsuit trying to block the distribution of nude photos taken of Brooke when she was just 9 years old.
Going to his studio, doing my homework in his studio, doing catalog work. I was 9. And he said, listen, we're doing this book for Rizzoli. It's Playboy Press. It was this dual look at young girls in 2 different settings. One was childlike, and the other was reserved for adults. Book comes out, there's no controversy, there's no uproar. Cut to, I'm 16, and Gary Gross, he was going to make a mint by selling these photos as famous Brooke Shields, now nude. And so she sued him. And we went to court. When I walked in the courtroom, there was a man. He looked at me literally at one point and went, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It should have just been about, here's the document, this is why he owns the photos. Why put me through that? And then the prick won.
New York's highest state court, the Court of Appeals, ruled today that a photographer may publish nude pictures of Brooke Shields, photos that he took of the model when she was only 10 years old.
That's a video of Brooke Shields. And Brooke Shields was a very young child star. And there was a lot of controversy in movies that she played because it was very actualized for a child, for a person her age, for a child. In that movie, Pretty Baby, she played a young prostitute, you know, growing up in it was just a crazy movie. I did see that movie before. I seen Blue Lagoon. I seen some other movies she did, and it was like a lot of sexual innuendos within those movies themselves for someone being so young. And then she was also a model, I think it was for Jordache jeans. So it was like a lot of controversy. A lot of people was mad at her mother because they felt that her mother should not have put her in those type of films and those type of position. But those are the things that goes on in Hollywood. Those are the things that go on in those worlds. And you see, as a child, that's child porn. Even if her mother at that point in time said, yeah, it's okay for you to take those pictures, but to distribute those pictures, to make money off those pictures, with her posing nude, that's child porn. And if it goes to court, and the people in the court are going to say, no, he can have those films, and he can go ahead and distribute them and make money from them. That's why stuff like this happen, because there are perverted people. Instead of saying, no, she didn't have a say over what happened to the picture. She's a child. Why would anyone want to spread this, you know, to whoever and who wants to look at a child? That should have been a question, and they should have said no to protect the child. But no, they're looking at, okay, he took the picture. Her mother initially said, okay, so they belong to him and he can do whatever he wants to with them. And so that's why back then, because men wasn't putting a stop to it like they were supposed to, that's why those things was allowed to continue to happen. And in a way, I blame her mother, because her mother should have said, no, I'm not going to put my child in a position, put my child in a movie like that where she's going to be sexualized. I'm not going to allow her to take certain type of roles, because regardless of how she is, Brooke Shields was as a child, these men are going to see her the way they want to see her. Society is going to see her the way they want to see her. And with her being so young, she's not going to understand that. So that was the role of her mother, to protect her. A lot of mothers don't do that. Not to the fullest, or not the way they should. That's also part of the problem. There's a lot of people, like I said, these people, the elites included, because even if you just get rid of the middleman and leave the elites, they're going to replace the middleman. They're still going to go after different children. Even if you get as many children away as you can, like I say, it will put a dent in it, but it's not going to stop, because there's too many people. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go after these people. I'm not saying you should turn a blind eye. That's not what I'm saying. You should always, if you know a child is being trafficked, if you know a child is in an environment she shouldn't be in, that should be questioned. And I don't understand how people could stand around and watch somebody get abused time after time after time again, but they don't want to protect the child, but they're so into protecting the predator. You're so into making sure that predator is okay. You're so into making sure that predator don't get found out. There are ways to tell on a person without saying, hey, I got something to tell on this person. you can go ahead and send, it's like they talk about the people who are whistleblowers. They can send out information to certain people. You could send out information to newspaper, to reporters, to certain reporters that you know going to be on the job because they want a news story. They want to break the latest thing. Just like the person who sent out the video to with Cassie being abused in that video. They sent it to the news. The news went ahead and showed it. That exposed and proved what Diddy was doing, and also supported what Cassie was saying. So if you got, like, Allison is saying, Allie is saying that she got all this information to prove that an organization is trafficking kids, but she doesn't put it out there to anyone. She's telling victims not to say anything. Shh, be quiet. Continue to get victimized. Don't even look for help. That's basically what she's saying. And like I said, I can't back that. I can't stand behind that. Because how can you say you're so afraid for your life, but you're on there constantly talking about, this is information I have. This is what I know. I got proof of this. I got proof of that. You're making yourself you're putting yourself out there already. So you might as well just drop some proof. Before you even said anything, you could have said, let me go ahead. I'm not going to put myself out there, but I want these kids to be helped. I want this organization to be shown for who they really are. So I'm going to stay behind the scene, but I'm going to push all this information out there. That was an option. I'm going to send it to different news reporters. Someone's going to look into it. Someone's going to investigate. You see a lot of times when you watch local news and you see these people saying, well, I called this person to get help and I called that person to get help. Nobody would help me. Then I picked up the phone and I called Channel 9 News. I called Channel 6 News. I called Channel 13 News, and they put an investigator on it, and that solved my problem right away. You can go to the news if you feel that the police are not helping. Believe me, them reporters want to get be the star reporter for that season, that year, whatever. They get rewarded for solving, coming up with the best, being the best reporter, getting the best story and stuff like that. They get accolades for that. People like accolades. So if you give them true information and they can verify the information you're telling them is true, then you're putting them in a position where they can help people. Even if you feel like you're not in a position to do it, they're going to be in that position to do it. And a lot of people, and I want to show another video, because a lot of people always say, be careful of this person. Watch out for this person. But they allow that predator to keep roaming around looking for prey.